into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Classic Juanes.
I like your beach hair, Giselle, Ugarte.
Oh, thanks.
This is great, but that's not what we're talking about. This is AfterBuzz TV. Thanks for watching and listening on iTunes. And this is Jane the Virgin, Chapter 17, or Episode 17.
Yes.
And this is a really great episode. I'm glad they're finally back. And I am your host, one of the hosts, Madison Chase Fitness, your trainer to the stars and the star in you, and a voice of virginity. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this incredible, talented, beautiful show.
And one of the reasons I love you so much and respect you so much
and my
a person.
Beautiful co-host.
Hey everyone, it's Giselle Ugarte here, and we have to hold it down for Miss Steffi G.
Steffi G, we love you. We miss you.
Jane the Virgin's back. She's not, but she will be.
Next week.
Yes.
On Monday the 13th, and we'll have a special guest, so you guys have to make sure that you watch and ask us questions on YouTube. And all the people like Tennessee.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Allie, for she is really great with asking us questions throughout the week. I love her. So
she gets
thank
us
you.
excited.
Yeah, she gets us excited for the show. So we totally appreciate that. And all the other people on YouTube, thanks for watching and leaving your comments and watching our AfterBuzz show. So let's jump into it, Chapter 17.
Well, really quick, I just want to say, so at the end we'll announce, I think this will be fun. At the end we'll announce who the guest is.
Okay.
But I'll give you a hint.
Give us a hint.
I'm going to have to try really hard not to like her.
Oh.
Or not to dislike her.
You're going to try
or
really
physically
hard
hurt her.
Not to. Okay.
Because this episode.
Yeah, it was kind of like a little cliffhanger. Like what?
What, girlfriend?
You're a little...
So it's a girl.
We'll say that. Yeah.
And she was in this episode.
And she was in this episode. Yes, she was.
Can you guess who it is?
Dun, dun, dun.
Leave it in the comments. Give us a tweet.
Yeah, I think she's great. So we have some good props today. The popcorn is always great at AfterBuzz. Thanks, Maria, and thanks, Steven, and thanks, everybody who makes the popcorn. Okay, so let's talk about it. You have to start with the opening scene. Young Xiomara, whoever that actress is, she is absolutely gorgeous. Like, that is some great casting. Like, she so looks like she could be Xiomara, like, at a 16-year-old.
It's the first time we've seen a young Xiomara, and it's so cute.
It's very cute. So she's taking care of little Jane, and what happened?
Well, you know, here is Abuela, who's, you know, younger at that time, but she looks the same. So it's kind of weird that they had a young Xiomara and they didn't have a young...
Oh, that's interesting. You're right.
Abuela. Wait, what's Abuela's character's name?
Abuela.
I know it's Yvonne in real life.
Her real
I just
name
call her
or
Abuela.
Abuela, that's what I call her.
So,
Okay.
so Abuela is trying to help the baby stop crying. Xiomara wants to do it her own way. Abuela's saying, no, do this, do this. She's saying, no, and you're not my mom anymore. I'm an adult now.
Ooh, you should never tell your mother that.
Mother is always a mother.
Always.
I always think I'm always going to be my mom's little girl.
I totally think that same thing. So I thought it was interesting, like, culturally, like, I would think that.
Yeah.
Regardless of, especially because I think the Latino community, you guys are always so close that would be like a natural thing.
But keep in mind, this is, you know, Xiomara, she had a very unexpected teen pregnancy.
That's true.
She's very rebellious.
That's
she doesn't
true.
like being told what to do.
Yes.
Whereas, you know, I know that we have similar relationships with our moms. Like, I feel like anything my mom tells me, as long as I'm the one doing it and it's not her being super, super invasive with my baby,
Right.
then I'm going to listen to her.
Absolutely.
But with Xiomara, it's like, no, I want to do my own approach. And then we see later in the episode where Jane is getting all these new techniques and tips and tricks 18 years later.
Right.
And she still is wondering, do I listen to that? Do I listen to my mom? I don't know what to do. So I think it's just a little bit of a different circumstance.
Totally. And I think the generation of the internet and all of these YouTubers and people who are instant experts, and there's so much, and they even talk about it later in the episode where she goes down the internet rabbit hole, where she is doing research on from doulas to lactating classes and the whole nine. Like, I could completely understand how she would be confused because everything is on the internet. WebMD, where you could self-diagnose yourself. That is
I've done that before.
I have too. I think everybody's been there like, what's wrong with me? And so you get on
everything.
WebMD. Yeah,
everything, and you're going to die.
Yes.
Tomorrow. God forbid.
Unfortunately, yeah, let's not say that. Not tomorrow. So, yes, I love that she's shopping, and the woman who is the expert who has the baby that's swaddled so perfectly. And
expert only because she just had a baby 6 months ago.
Yes, but she also, like Jane would say, oh, what is that? Lactating. Like, she kind of judges her for not doing certain things. And so Jane is kind of like, oh, maybe I should be doing that.
When she said that she wanted to put the baby in the nursery instead of in the bedroom, and the mom's like, well, that's okay.
That's a choice.
That's a choice. Sure. I want to know if you at home have heard of anything really crazy that a mom today has decided to adopt as her philosophy or as her thing. I know I've been seeing that a lot because my sister-in-law is having a baby, and every little thing, if the baby drops something, she's, disinfecting it and doing this. When I was a baby, I was putting like all these toys in my mouth and eating snow. Yeah. Probably yellow snow.
Don't say that, Giselle.
I never get sick.
No, your mom would be mad if you said
I never get
yellow
sick.
Snow.
My immune system is pretty, knock on wood.
Or plastic or glass.
Glass.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So she sees this woman, all of a sudden she's just scared out of her mind, and she's already pretty anxiety ridden all the time.
And very high strung and type A. So those two things together don't really go well. So she's already panicking.
Although I did love how she was like, you wear your baby like an accessory?
Yes.
And then she's trying to put the wrap on, like,
how do I do this thing? Giselle is trying to wrap herself, and it's not working. You can't cover your face. So I think it is a traumatic experience because you can't really prepare for the thing that you've never prepared for. And she does say babysitting a baby and actually having your own baby are two completely different things. So
it's like your puppy.
Yeah, it is like my puppy. But I think having a baby, and sometimes some women don't have that like natural maternal instinct. For some reason, some women get it, some women don't. And then I think the whole postpartum.
Some people have postpartum,
I was going to say postpartum depression can really
mess with you.
Yeah, it could mess with you. And I don't know if that's a hormonal thing where something is imbalanced, where you kind of
it's
just kind
all
of disconnect.
Kinds of things.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. But I'm going to have to do some internet research.
Disconnect and sometimes even hate your baby or hate yourself.
Yeah.
And
hate your body.
Hate your body.
Yeah.
It's really sad. It's really scary.
Yeah. So hopefully Jane will have a more pleasant experience and she'll enjoy. Like, I think when the baby starts kicking, maybe it's a different kind of experience because you really realize
there's a human.
This is real. Happening. It's real. It's in my belly. And one day it's coming out.
What I think is so crazy is that they've already shot the last episode they've shot the delivery.
Already?
They've shot it already. So they are done. So Raphael in real life, Justin is in total his own baby mode now.
I know. And that's so cute.
And Gina Rodriguez said that it was like one of the craziest experiences of her life to have to pretend to be delivering a baby. And but she did say that before she even thinks about giving birth to a baby, she wants to give birth to her career. So.
And she's doing that.
Yeah.
I think she's already had the baby. Like, she doesn't have to give birth to it. Like, this is. I would think.
This is her baby.
This is your baby.
She's
like
having
Jane
it.
The Virgin is your baby.
And she'll have lots more babies.
Yeah.
Lots more career babies.
Of course. Like, this is your
Amen,
first baby.
sister.
Yeah, you did that. You don't have to do it anymore. This is your first baby. Okay, so Michael and Rogelio and Ziamata. So Michael and Rogelio are like really getting close.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's an accident. And
I'm not mad at it either.
I'm not mad. I really think he's a funny guy. Like, when he came to the studio, I think he's a really funny guy.
Brett?
Yeah,
Michael?
Brett,
yeah.
Yeah, Brett Dyer. Yeah, I think he's a really funny guy. So, and even his character is like super goofy, funny, fun-loving. Like, so I could see him and Rogelio, really getting, closer, and they're getting closer. And so
I want to see more dance sequences with those two.
I do too.
A couple episodes ago when they were at that party and you look over really fast. I love their bromance.
Yes.
And now they're getting mani-pedis. I mean, I can't help it. Even as much as I love Raph, Jenny Yerman, how did you do this to me?
Yeah.
I thought I was like Team Raph all the way. And this episode, I was actually like
Team Michael.
Yeah.
Me too. We were both Team Raph. And now I'm kind of like...
Hashtag Team Michael.
Yeah, hashtag Team Michael.
Tonight.
Yes, I love it. And he's I think he's still secretly Team Michael, even though he did what Jane told him to do, which is say... he needs to move on. But I think Jane is having like a little like question, like, did I do the right thing? Because now she sees, and it's funny because the very thing that you like about somebody can be the very thing that you hate about them.
And the very thing that you hate can be the very thing that you love.
Yeah. It could flip-flop because I feel like Raph, his job is important and he wants to be a provider. And he also is dealing with his dad, being deceased and trying to hold on to the legacy and making his dad proud. And so he's dealing with that. But he really hasn't dealt with it. So I think that that's the issue that's probably really weighing on him, and that he's kind of taking that out on Jane too, because the party didn't go well. And so now he's feeling frustrated, like, how am I going to be a provider if I don't have a job? And so he's thinking about all of that stuff. And they're both really stressed. And I think she's being probably hormonal.
Oh, yeah.
And she's not understanding that he has to have a career and he has to keep the hotel open, and being fined and all of that stuff that's a stressful situation to be in.
I see where she's coming from, and I also relate to Rogelio because I'm totally that person in my relationship who is always attached to my phone. Always. If you specifically say put your phone down, of course I'll listen. If it rings, I can't help it. I'll ignore the call, but that's what happens. But at the same time, I feel like it would also be a lot easier if they lived together, because Rogelio, he has the benefit that his job is in the same place that his house is. So he could always be working and come upstairs and see the baby throughout the day. Whereas if he was like an investment banker or something where he'd be working at the office nonstop, he can't answer his phone. He can't, around the clock. And so I feel like that could
would
potentially solve a lot of problems.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I think she is still unclear. I know she wants to be married first. So that whole living together, like, even though she is taking the untraditional route and she's having the baby. So doing it kind of backwards in her mind, when you're a type A personality, it's got to have order. So even though it's out of order, she still wants it to be in order. So the order that she can't control, she's going to control it. This is how my mind works. So this is why I know.
Oh, I know.
But I think you're right. If they live together, they're obviously not going to be having sex because she's pregnant and she wants to wait till they get married. So I think, I don't know. I don't know if it would bring them closer together or if they would start to resent each other more, because maybe he wouldn't have enough time. I would think he would, like, you have to eat at some point in time in the day. So you could come upstairs and you could have lunch with her at least, and you guys at least have
or
that
she
hour.
could go down and, Abuela or Xiomara could be upstairs for just a second, and she could go have like a drink or, go have brunch or whatever with him. And I think that would make things a lot easier.
I think so. I think you're right. And hopefully that will happen in the next episode, that they'll actually decide to move in together.
And speaking of the out of order, someone who did move in together, Xiomara and Rogelio.
I know.
Which we talked about Rogelio and Michael at the beginning of this episode, but we see them, they've moved in together. The house is
gorgeous.
beautiful.
I'm like, that looks like a hotel.
Can I live there?
I know, me too.
And Michael asks how they like living together. They're all up in each other's business.
And they're loving each other.
They're loving each other. And that was something that Abuela and Jane were talking about. Is it lust? Is it love? They both think it's love. But then Xiomara realizes, wait, maybe we haven't even said that yet.
Yeah.
I don't think she's thinking it might be lust only, but I think she's just like, wait,
we haven't
I
said
just
it.
realized, even though it feels like
Love.
that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you guys think it's lust or love?
That's a tricky combination, just because they've known each other for a long time, and
They have a baby together.
they have a baby together.
Even if they didn't raise her together.
Even if they didn't raise her together, now they're
or
about
speak
to have
in more than 20 years.
I know, but now they're about to have a grandbaby too. So
That's true.
I know they're going to be grandparents. They're going to be hot grandparents. But yeah, so I think with that lust-love combination, you have to have some kind of boundaries, and it's hard to create boundaries when you're living together. And I think, why is it that it's interesting how as people we want something to happen, but if we say we want it to happen, it's like it's a bad thing. I don't get that.
Are you talking about as far as her wanting to say I love you first?
Yeah, like she, instead of saying how do you feel it, like she could have just said how do you feel about me.
Or she could have just said I love you.
Or she could have said I love you, but what is that? I don't know what that thing is where you want somebody to say it first. And I don't know, because to me, I think you would say I love you before you start having sex. I mean, that's just me.
Yeah, or I mean, I feel like a lot of people skip that and go straight to the sex these days, and they
Really?
definitely did. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
You're like, yeah.
They do.
Oh no.
Not everybody, but I think a
Most
lot of
people.
people, a lot of
Really?
people
Okay.
do. And it's more just that connection, not
Right.
necessarily
The
like
chemistry.
knowing that was there.
Right.
Or I think it's also the idea of either I just want to do this, or it's I could love you, so then I'm comfortable doing that with you. Because some people don't want to wait for the I love you and then end up having the bad sex and risk that.
That is
Sometimes.
such an interesting.
There are lots of different arguments here.
Yeah.
I respect everybody.
I respect it. I'm just really like, because I don't really know how it goes. Like, to me, in my head, I would think that would be, but I get it. Like,
yeah.
Because I was telling somebody there's an interesting couple on YouTube, and they waited to do everything at the altar. Like their first kiss was at the altar, and of course,
I've been to a wedding like that.
Yeah, and I was like, that's so interesting. I said, I don't know if I could wait for the kissing part, and I don't know if I could wait for. I would want to make sure it works. Like, let me touch it. Something.
Let me make sure it's there.
Let me make sure you're a man that likes women.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So yeah, she kind of toys around with the picture frame, but she's been there before. And like, you've been here where you kind of dance around what you really want to say instead of just saying it. Like, you would think that she learned the lesson the first time.
She hasn't.
And she
it's
hasn't
just how
learned.
they are.
Yeah.
It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks.
I know.
You can.
You can.
It just takes a little bit of time before it becomes
reinforcement.
natural. And
Yeah.
maybe that's something that we're going to see, with time, because I feel like we're already emotionally invested to think that they're going to be together and they're going to get married and it's going to work out and it's going to be perfect.
No.
But it could be that maybe this is one of those things that like they just can't figure it out.
I think they could figure it out, but I think because there's that, they have like this animal magnetic chemistry, that you tend to overlook the foundation and the process. Like, you're gonna have fights, you're gonna have disagreements, and you have to learn how to resolve those disagreements, and you have to understand how to communicate with someone.
Yep.
Honestly, and it starts with, this is how I feel. So she could have very easily have said, and she did say I love you, but then you got to be ready for the truth, because
But did you see that coming?
I didn't see that
Because I
coming.
didn't see that coming.
But it's
Because when you think about it, I mean, Rogelio, it's not like she just moved in with him. It's
Right.
that like he turned down this whole other life
that's true. You're right, Giselle.
for her.
Yeah.
And granted, okay, it wasn't just her. It's also that he wants to get to know his daughter and then
Yes.
his future grandchild. We
Child.
don't know the sex
No,
yet.
we don't.
Yeah,
I don't think
his
so.
future grandchild. But
We could probably assume that it's a little girl, maybe just
I think it's
because
probably
of,
gonna be a girl.
yeah, just because of the
be real.
the future little girl that we see in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
I would
Hey.
Yeah.
Did you catch that?
Yeah.
Smart
now,
one.
it would have been interesting if they would have done a little girl and then a little boy, because then it would have thrown us off, like, what is she going to have? But I think because they did a little girl, it's going to be a little Jane.
I might need to tweet this. Call out Jenny Ehrman on this one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little Jane. So, yeah. So we talk. Let's see. Rogelio and Xiomara stopped by. Okay, so Michael and Rogelio getting mani-pedis.
Yes.
That conversation, they're really bonding. And he has never gotten a pedi before, Michael. And I thought, they didn't really show their toes. I kind of wanted to see what their toes look like.
Why?
I don't know.
Do you have a foot fetish?
I do not have a foot fetish. I don't know why people have foot fetishes anyway, because it's kind of like the thing you can't do anything about. Like if you
I don't think it's something you have a choice over.
That's my point. So I don't understand. Like I met this guy recently and he was like, oh, I have a foot fetish. I'm like, what does that mean? So if you met the most beautiful girl in the world, Adriana Lima, who I think is strikingly beautiful, or Naomi Campbell, and you met them and their feet were ugly, you would say, oh, never mind. Mm-hmm. People would do that, right?
Probably.
That makes no sense to me.
I wouldn't know from experience. I just know from watching like an MTV True Life episode.
When people have foot fetishes.
Yeah.
It blows my mind.
Let's get off the foot fetishes. Let's get back to
Okay, let's get back. Okay, I'm sorry. I just thought about that. I'm like, they didn't show their feet.
But if you have expertise, continue the conversation in the comments below.
I don't know. It never really made sense to me.
Because I'm kind of curious too.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, so they find out that I think he relays a message to Michael that you need to get over Jane.
And the thing is, tell me if you guys felt this way too, but when Jane told Rogelio about moving on, I thought she was saying that she didn't want them to be friends. I thought she was saying that she wanted Michael and Rogelio to move on from their friendship.
That's a good
So
point.
So that's what I'm kind of confused about is like, isn't that the whole problem? Like, isn't that the problem on top of the fact that Michael maybe wants her back? Isn't it that like your ex-boyfriend is friends with your dad who you're trying to impress from Raph's perspective?
Well, I don't really, if that was what she was implying, her being the wordsmith, I would think she would say, hey dad, I want you to be closer to Raph. He's my baby daddy, future husband one day. And it's making Raph uncomfortable that you have this great relationship with Michael. Like, I feel like she would have been very direct instead of saying, I think she was saying, give Raph a chance. And that relationship, like, you can't really tell grown people not to be friends with someone. Because obviously he likes Michael. And I think the whole Phil ride when he was trying to be a cop and practicing for his show, you can't really discount how someone... You kind of can,
though, when it's your dad.
But it's her dad that
imagine if your mom was still talking to one of your exes.
She does, actually.
Oh.
Well. But you know what? I'm so not a person who likes to, like, cocoon people in this little cocoon. Like, my exes...
I don't like to cocoon people, but I like to keep my exes in the past. I don't want them creeping up on my business. But that's just me.
No, I hear you, but I think because my exes, I haven't slept with any of them, it's a little bit different. Like, they're still my friends. Like, I still talk to my high school's boyfriend's mother.
High school, I guess, is a little different.
On Facebook. You know,
that's pretty harmless.
My mom and, But I still see him. Like, when I go home, I still say, hey.
But if it was your ex-fiance...
That's a different story.
And you was having a baby...
That
complicates things.
That is a little more complicated. Yes, I would agree. Fiance, where we're going to spend the rest of our life situation happening, that's a little bit different. I agree, Giselle. Yeah. Okay, so mani-pedi appointment, they talk, and I don't know that he quite got it because he said, yes, okay, I got it. I'm actually dating somebody, but not really. And then later on, we find out.
And Rogelio wants him to talk to other girls.
Yes.
He mentions Raph's going to be there. And Michael agrees because he knows that Raph is jealous of their relationship and just hates seeing him anywhere.
And
looking fly.
Yeah. Raph looked good.
No, Michael looked good too.
Michael looked good.
So when Raph's like really stressed out and he sees Michael having a great time,
yes, at
mind
his
you,
party.
with his potential hopeful future father.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a bit distressing. Yeah.
Let's talk about Petra and Raph.
I was gonna get to that. Petra and Aaron first.
Oh. Or is it?
Oh, dun dun dun. Yeah, so when they first met, I think there was a little bit of, this feels really familiar. Mm-hmm. And then when Aaron broke the necklace, I was like,
how does he know that?
How does he know that? And I think he had to be completely different from the first one. Roman? Is that? Yeah. And he knew that he was a little aggressive. Mm-hmm. So the opposite of being aggressive is a Jainism. Is that a real thing?
I don't know. I guess I've never actually looked it up.
Let's look that up.
Let us know.
YouTube people.
AfterBuzz peeps.
AfterBuzz peeps. Is that real? I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
It is? Mm-hmm. Really? That is very interesting.
It's real.
It's real.
Jain.
Jainisms. So yeah. So they get together and
she feels something different.
She feels something, but then she's like curious about
sexuality.
Sexuality, and if he's abstinent. And she was like, "Are you a strict?" So she was like pre-planning. Mm-hmm. We're gonna get it on. She was pre-planning the getting it on part.
I think she was just trying to see if the chemistry was there.
I think she felt the chemistry, and so that's why she asked that question.
And I think also Petra always seems to use her looks as a way to manipulate people.
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought she was going to do at the party with the police officers. I saw that
Why
coming.
didn't you do that? Why didn't you show them your boobs, Petra? Just kidding. Rude.
Or just rub on the officer just a tad.
Hey.
We don't have a permit, but I'm pretty. That's what I felt like was coming, but that didn't happen. So yeah, let's talk about the party. So at the party, we see Raph, see Michael and Rogelio together, and it burns him up. And then so Rogelio,
Aaron sees Petra seeing Raph.
Raph, yes. He's watching her, and so he comments like, "You're still in love with him." And the party gets shut down. And I totally thought she was going to make a move when she was like, "I gotta go, like I gotta save him," kind of thing, which I thought was interesting. Like, you didn't do anything. I was expecting her to do something.
What is the Petra Raph dynamic, do we think, right now? Are they friends? Is there something there?
Chemistry-wise?
Could they potentially get drunk and sleep together?
I think they could definitely get drunk and sleep together. But I think...
And then accidentally make a baby?
Ooh, don't say it. No, that would be so wrong.
Telenovela, hello, anything is possible.
Oh, that would be so wrong. Yeah, but you're right. This is telenovela. It could definitely happen.
When she also sleeps with Roman, and then she doesn't know whose baby it is. Well, actually, she probably would know. She would probably then think it was Roman's, because we don't think that Raph can make a baby anymore because he's out of sperm.
Possibly, but anything is
But then it comes
possible.
out and it's brown and not black.
And he's got curly hair. Who knows? But so Petra gets drunk.
Makes a move.
She makes a move on Aaron, and when she's hugging him, she notices a birthmark that Roman also had. And is it possible?
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, because she pulled his shirt back, or he had on like a strapless, not strapless, but a
Beater.
A tank top.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate saying wife beater, but yes.
I don't say the wife part. I just say the beater part.
The beater.
Yeah.
Okay. But you're still violent. But that shirt.
Tank top.
Skinny.
A ribbed tank top.
We like that. Ribbed tank top. Yeah, so she sees the birthmark. And is it possible that two identical twins could have the same birthmark?
I think it is.
Is it possible?
I think that's possible.
I want to Google that.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Is it? Because identical, does that mean everything is identical?
Everything.
Really?
Not necessarily. I mean, I'm sure there are some identical twins that one would have a birthmark and one wouldn't. But I think it's possible to have like identical I'll look it up. But
That's
anyway,
interesting. Yeah. So
she has that familiar feeling though, and I think that above all, yes, the birthmark, but I think just that feeling.
Yeah. So the question is Roman and Aaron really the same, and how is it possible? Because he was impaled on the ice sculpture. Could it possibly? But yeah, that would be interesting. How possibly could it, like, because you had to like have a body, and then the body has to go in the body bag, and then they have to declare the person deceased and take them away. So I don't know that could be, but it could be like a really elaborate scheme. Could be, possibly.
Could he be undercover?
Possibly, because you notice before he was impaled, the lights went off. And then, bam, the lights come back on. So there was time for him to get on the thing if it was really, I don't know. It's possible.
What's on that USB?
That is a very good question. Maybe it's how they actually did the real death of Roman.
Well, no, because if he's himself, he doesn't need to know that. There's something else on there.
That's true. He wouldn't need to know.
Because he would know.
Maybe it's the person he paid to help him get away with
stuff
it.
About Sin Rostro.
Because we haven't seen Sin Rostro, so maybe you're right. Maybe it's Sin Rostro, and maybe it's the person that he paid to. Like, what would be the benefit of him pretending to be dead and then coming back from the dead, and then you're back in love with the person that you were in love with before? Like, it's very confusing.
Google.
What is Google
super
say?
Reliable?
It is.
Usually. Not always.
Not always.
But Google, there are a lot of answers from someone asked a question on circleofmoms.com. And they said this question might seem ridiculous, but does anyone know if identical twins can share birthmarks? And the majority of the answers, pretty much all of them actually, are either parents or actual twins themselves saying that they have different birthmarks and moles.
Yeah, because I wouldn't think, like, you might physically look the same, but I wouldn't think that you would share, like, imperfections. Like, that's considered an imperfection. And so imperfections are just that. It's kind of like dimples. Dimples are a muscle deficiency. So just because you have identical looks doesn't mean that the imperfections would be identical, too. So that totally makes sense.
So Roman is Roman. Aaron is Roman.
Yeah.
There's only one.
Wait.
And that is one lucky actor.
I was going to say, kudos to...
Because I wonder if that's always been the plan.
To bring him back?
Or if they just loved him on set,
and they
which is possible.
And
she decided to write him in. And that happens.
I like that.
Not all the time, but it happens. But not often.
Not often.
Like, you have to be in the right place in the right time and treat people very well.
And I think that set is probably one of those sets where they definitely treat everybody really, really well. So I'm happy he's back. I'm just really curious about...
What's your story?
Yeah, what's the story and what's
Why won't you message me back? I'm coming to AFTERBUZZ. You said you were going to.
Uh-oh.
And then you stopped messaging me back. You still follow me on Twitter.
Aaron Roman, whatever your name is.
I think I have your number. Maybe I'll call you.
Call him, Giselle. Call him. Yeah.
No, we need our viewers to tweet too. Because you guys are always commenting and saying, oh, bring this person in, bring this person in, bring this person in. And of course we try, and luckily we've been able to deliver this season, and we're so grateful for that.
Absolutely.
And for our awesome crew who they also try to bring people in on top of us, you know, either contacting publicists or even just reaching out through Twitter. The girl who's coming in next week, I did tweet her, and then her publicist reached out to us.
Oh, wow.
And thankfully, you know, she listened. But ultimately, they are going to listen to the fans first and foremost, not just us, because, you know, this is technically work to them. But it's fun when the fans get involved. So you guys need to make sure that you're reaching out to them on Facebook, reaching out to them on Twitter. Say that you love Jane AfterBuzz TV, our after show, and that you want them to be on our Black Couch. And hopefully they'll listen. You only have a couple episodes left, so make sure you do that.
And that's hashtag ABTVJTV. That's what you should be hashtagging to get them on the show. Okay, so we haven't talked about, we got a lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah?
Jane and Roth, her going to him and talking about the doula and saying the doula is going to be really expensive. And he was like, do you really need that? And she was like, I just want someone who has experience and she's done this before. Could a doula be a lot of times? I don't know if a doula could be a man. I wonder. I've mostly seen doulas that were women, and it would make sense. But then a man could possibly be a good coach. That's a very good question. Yeah. I don't know.
I feel like it's probably not as attractive to a man to do.
I would agree.
But I'm sure they exist.
You're probably right.
And I think probably females would prefer
a woman. I totally would prefer
even if it's a woman who hasn't had a baby yet.
I totally agree with that. So yeah, she gets a little frustrated because he was like, do we really need that? And so I don't know if he was thinking, my business is really failing, so maybe we shouldn't get a doula, because you made me laugh. You were like, she's still working?
Well, the way that I saw it was she was like, it's expensive, and he gave her a look as if money wasn't an issue.
Oh, I gotcha.
That's how I took it.
Okay.
So if anything, it was him just going, well, do we need that? Because she's like, well, it's an extra person in the room, and it's like another voice. And to me, it sounded like, well, why would you want that?
Right.
And then finally she was like, well, I don't know, maybe. And she gave a really good reason as to why.
So hopefully he heard that.
Because we saw how the family was during the ultrasound, and it was all kinds of crazy.
That was very crazy.
They had to have people leave the room.
Yes. But I think a doula would be a good person to have in the room, because obviously your mom and abuela, like, they have their different ideas on what you should and shouldn't do. But I'm sure I would probably want my mom and my grandmother in the room with the doula and my baby's daddy.
I think also too, now, you know, kind of back to the subject, Raph was so good at the beginning about making every appointment and about making Jane his priority, and they could spend nights together and talk and talk.
But his dad was alive.
True, his dad was alive. And so now it's interesting to see, and I'm sure what's going through her mind is, well, what if you're not even in the room?
Right.
Like, you can't take 20 minutes,
right,
not even to talk about a dumb doula.
Right. So could she be like,
like, maybe I need the doula because
you might not be there. Oh. And she kind of really didn't communicate that, but she kind of did, because she was like, you're going to always be working. And that's the thing I was saying. I was like, there's my ex, like, he owns his own business and he's like a hard worker. And so the very thing that I liked about him became the thing that was a problem in our relationship. So I think he just needs to have a conversation with her, like, look, this is very stressful for me, so I understand. But I also think he needs to try to make time for her. You know, whether that's like before she goes to work, or if that's at lunchtime, or if that's dinner time. Like, he needs some time where he could put down his phone and not do business and try to schedule some time with her, if she's going to continue to be important, because she's going to keep having that feeling that you're going to always be working. Like, you really need to make me and this baby a priority, like right now. Because if you can't do them when the baby's in my belly, what are you going to do? And then his answer was, we could get a nanny. And she was like,
that's your answer?
That's your answer. Like, she was not happy with that at all.
Oops.
Yeah. So he kind of put his foot in the mouth. I was like, no, don't say it. You need to be around for your baby. rough. So yeah, I think that's kind of why Team Michael. So we haven't talked about Jane babysitting with Andy. And so Jane,
Andy in general,
yeah, we haven't talked about her at all. But she meets Andy in a writing class, and in the class, they realize they have a lot of stuff in common, and they end up going for, I love that they were eating fruit. I'm like, that's so cute and so healthy and organic. I love it. I would
well, before they're eating churros, so
I know, yeah.
Nice little contrast.
Yeah, it's a good contrast. I like the fruit. So Jane decides that she's going to babysit for Andy. I thought she was going to be with the baby by herself, but I guess so she could help Andy write her story, because I guess she's reading it in class out loud. And so she gets, that was a laugh. Dun, dun. Tweet. So she is helping Andy text her ex, because now they're having conversations about her ex. And so Jane ends up having a situation with her mom, and the mom comes in, Xiomara comes in, and she's trying to swallow the baby. The baby's crying. Andy's going to get Pampers, and then Xiomara walks out because Jane finally swallows the baby, and the baby goes to sleep, and then Xiomara closes the door, and then the baby screams again, and then
there's the parallel between the first scene and this one, which makes Abuela emotional, leads to a good talk of forgiveness. But Andy is Michael's ex.
Yes.
Jane is Michael's ex. We think that they don't know.
We thought that Jane didn't know and Andy didn't know that they were both
had this mutual person. We just thought, oh my gosh, they have so much in common. No wonder they like so much about each other.
Yes.
Including the same type of men.
But little did we know that Andy had something up her sleeves.
That bitch.
That hussy, that heifer. Yeah, but you know what? There's a movie. Who is in the movie? But these three exes to this douchebag guy get together and then kind of team up. So I think it's possible for them to be friends. But the only thing that's a little sneaky is that Andy knows that Michael and Jane used to date.
I don't think there's a problem with these two exes being friends. Like my mom's maid of honor at her wedding was the girl who her ex-boyfriend cheated on her with.
Oh gosh.
Or like was dating both of them at the same time.
Oh.
And now obviously they're not at all in contact with him, but they became best friends. Like
Wow.
I think that's totally fine. What I don't think is fine is that I think Andy's manipulating the situation.
She is, totally.
And she is trying to, for whatever reason, hurt Jane or get Michael back. I don't know if maybe he has a secret. Maybe he was unfaithful with her when he met Jane.
Oh.
Maybe there's some kind of revenge happening here that we don't know about.
You think
or
it's
maybe she's
revenge?
a stalker
and she wants
bitch is
to be-
crazy.
This is possible. I just think that she is manipulative, and she's using Jane because she probably knows that either Michael is still in love with Jane or he's hurt, and so she wants to help him get over Jane, and so she's using Jane because she knows that he is like, she's the most recent thing that he's been around. So maybe she knows kind of what he likes. I don't know. It's confusing to me.
Yeah.
It's totally confusing.
An ex is an ex for a reason. Leave it alone. Leave it in the past. Just let it happen. Don't try to mess with fate.
I agree. I totally agree. But sometimes exes, unless it ends really, really badly, and maybe it did and we still don't know why they're not together, which I'm really curious about, and I'm sure in the next episode we'll find out. We'll definitely find out. What else? Oh, the party shut down. We talked about that. Xiomara, 2 ex-wives. Oh, so Rogelio doesn't tell Xiomara that he loves her because...
Allegedly.
I agree with you. I think that's just some hogwash. He said he's only told 3 women, I love you. His 2 ex-wives, and then his mother. And he said the reason why, because what did he say? She was like, I love you. And he said, I'm getting there.
I'm getting there with you.
I'm getting there with you. And that was definitely not the answer she wanted to hear. And he said, I think the animosity between you and my mom is really holding me back from. So obviously he's a mama's boy. Really, like his mom's looks. I mean, who is the woman playing the mother-in-law?
I know who it is. It's
too.
driving me nuts. I know
If
you on
guys
YouTube are
know.
going to be able to tell me. I know it, and I'm going to feel so stupid when you tell me.
I
but
am
I didn't have the
too.
time to look it up.
I know her face, and I know that's a wig that she has on. I don't think she's that gray. Like she's playing an older character.
I think it's like a signature thing, though.
The wig?
Yeah.
Really?
Or the hairdo. Yeah. Because that's what I recognized her for.
For some reason, I don't.
Help us out.
Yeah,
anyway,
I don't know.
Mamacita does not like Xiomara.
So that's the next
For whatever
thing.
reason.
I wonder what happened, but I guess we'll find out on the next show what's going to happen. Do you have any predictions?
Well,
And now
I have a
your
prediction, and that's
AfterBuzz
that
TV
Rachel DePilo
predictions.
is going to be joining us.
Dun dun dun! That
So
would be
Andy-
Andy.
Andy's going to be joining us next week. She will be in the studio, so if you have any questions, make sure that you tweet us or leave them in the YouTube section so that we can try to grill her.
And I think we should really try to get Aaron/Roman to be on the show.
Yeah!
Because that would be perfect, because that was like the juice from episode 17. So if we could get them on the show. Aaron, he needs to be on the show.
That'd be great.
Roman,
Please.
Andy.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next time. So Giselle,
Do you have any predictions?
I'm just ready for Jane to have that baby. That's my prediction. And I predict that it's going to be a girl.
We have 5 episodes left.
Okay.
18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
Oh, wow. Your nails look great, Giselle. So
Thanks. I painted them myself.
you did a good job. So where
Target.
can people find you?
People can find me pretty much everywhere at Giselle Ugarte, and I am on Snapchat now too. So add me there.
I love Snapchat. I might have to get on there. So my website, MadisonChaseFitness.com, YouTube, One Mad Chase, Twitter, Madison Chase Fitness, and no, Madison Chase Fit. Madison Chase Fit on Twitter, and then on Facebook,
Instagram.
on Madison Chase Fitness, and I'm on Perio, which is a new. You know about that one? It's like a live
camera?
video.
Why aren't we doing it right now? We'll do it next week.
Yeah, we could totally do it next week. So yeah,
Bye,
that's
peeps.
it. Thank you, Steven.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.